yɛda ɔbaade ase saa na yɛda ɔsoro ne asase so ase som ɔbaadeɛ na abɔdeɛ nsom bibia ɛwɔ adesua mu agyepo technology nie. Today we are coming to learn about faults that affects some of electronics components like capacitor, resistor, inductor, IC, diode, Zener diode, many more electronics components. So when the system gets fault, you must to trace and know the component which is faulty and replace it. Okay, let's use a diagram to know more about the fault that affects some of the electronic components. From this circuit diagram, you see there's a voltage source here, the switch, resistor, the lamp, and then the connecting wire. Now, when you close the switch like this, the light will come on. The resistor reduces the flow of electric current before it will get to the bulb. So let's look at a fault that affects resistor. Resistor can be open circuit. Open circuit, it will be like this. When the resistor becomes open circuit, you will not have any output. The current will flow, and because of the open circuit like a switch, the current cannot flow and let the lamp or it will not give any output. Okay, the resistor, it can be increase or decrease in resistance. It can be increase or decrease in resistance. Maybe this resistor is 470 ohms, which is yellow, violet, brown. And if the resistor become faulty, it can be either increase or decrease in resistance. Let's say the 470 ohms, when it becomes decrease in resistance, it's like powering another resistor to 8. When it's power another resistor to 8, instead of having 470 kilo ohms, you may have 430 ohms. Maybe this one is 4.7k. You see, so in this, it means the resistor is faulty. The actual resistance is 470 ohms, but due to the fault, the resistance has been decreased to 430 ohms. So how the resistor is reducing the flow to the lamp, it will change the voltage to the lamp or to the load. Okay. At times, it can be increase in resistance. It can be increase in resistance. Let's see. It can be increase in resistance. You see, this is 470 ohm, and maybe you have here 10 ohms. So when the resistor becomes faulty, it can read higher resistance, like series another resistor to 8. It means that the resistor is faulty. You are not getting the actual resistance, which is 470 ohms. Rather, the resistance has been increased. It means the resistor is faulty. At times, physically, you can see the resistor is bent. You can see the resistor is bent. So a fault affects resistors. One is open circuits, and also it can be increase and decrease in resistance. Okay, it can also be short circuit. This is the 470 ohms. The short circuit affects resistor, or the fault affects resistor, which also can be a short circuit. It can be like this. It can be like this. So instead of the resistance giving you 470 ohms, it will rather give you 0 ohms. It means that the resistor is faulty and it is short circuit. It will allow higher current to get to the bulb or to the load, and it will spoil it. So the fault affects resistor. One is short circuit, one is open circuit, one is increase or decrease in resistance. Physically, you can see the resistor can be bent. If the high voltage or the load draw higher current more than the design current in the resistor, it will bend the resistor. This is the fault that affects resistors. This is a capacitor. This is a capacitor. You see, we have polarized and non-polarized capacitor. Okay, this is non-polarized capacitor. Okay, you see, the capacitor too, it can become a faulty by open circuit. The open circuit, when it becomes open, you see, the connection inside here can be open. When it becomes open like this, the current cannot get to the load. So the capacitor can be open circuit. Fault affect capacitor is short circuit, leakage, open circuit. The short circuit also, it will be like this. It will be like this. Instead of the capacitor to have its capacitance, it will lose its capacitance and then become a short circuit. You see, the capacitor is two metals separated by that electric. So when the two metals inside the capacitor join together, it becomes a short circuit and it loses its capacitance. The capacitor can be leakage. The leakage capacitor, when you charge it by a 12 volts like this is a 12 volt. So this is the charging voltage. So the leakage capacitor, later when you come, it will be like this. It will be like this, and maybe you have 8 volts instead of 12 volts. A capacitor is designed to store electric charge. So if it's not able to store the electric charge, it means the capacitor is leakage capacitor. And the leakage capacitor is very difficult to find sometimes. So sometimes your machine, sometimes when you switch it on, it can come on. Later when you switch it on, it will not come on. Most of them is caused by the leakage. Even sometimes it can cause by dry coded joint or improper soldering of the component, but most of the times it's caused by the leakage capacitors in the board, because the capacitor is meant to store electric charge. When it loses its capacity, ability to store electric charge, then it means it's fault. So the fault affects capacitor is open circuits, short circuits, and leakage. The diode can be open circuit like a resistor. It can be open circuit like this so that the current cannot flow. It will be like a switch. In the open circuit, you will not have any output. The diode can be open circuit. Diode is a semiconductor that current flow in one direction. When it becomes open circuit, current cannot flow. And also, the fault affects diode can be short circuit. Short circuit. The short circuit like this, instead of it conducts one direction, it rather conducts the both direction, and it becomes a conductor. So when a diode becomes a conductor, it means it is short circuit. Also is a fault that affects it, the short circuit. Okay, another, it can be increase or decrease in resistance. It can be increase or decrease in resistance. In the decrease in the resistance, it may be like this. Like this. You see, when you power two diode, the resistance will decrease, because every diode have a resistance. Just that is a semiconductor, but they have a resistance. So when you power another two resistor like this, the resistance will decrease. Maybe it's 480, and you power it become maybe 390. You see, so the fault that can be affects diode can be decrease in resistance or increase in resistance. Increase in resistance. It can be increase in the resistance. Instead of having 480, the resistance will increase to maybe 500. And if it becomes like that, it will affect the output. It will affect the bulb. When the resistance increase and it is the bulb, the brightness will reduce. And if it becomes a short circuit, the the light will receive high current and high voltage, and it will burn up. Transistor. Let's consider transistor. You see, this is a transistor. This is a transistor, and here, okay, this is emitter, base, collector. Okay, this one, you see, when you close the switch, the light will come on. It will open the base and allow the positive to flow to the load or the bulb for it to come on. Okay, when the transistor becomes faulty, it can either open circuit like this so that the current cannot flow through the emitter to the collector, whereby the base receive the negative voltage. Okay, so transistor can be open circuit, and also transistor can be short circuit. The short circuit transistor, it can be like this. Instead of waiting the voltage to get to the base, it will rather send the voltage directly from the emitter to collector. So it means the transistor is short circuit. And also the transistor can be increased or decreased in resistance. Maybe the actual resistance from base to emitter here is 540. When it becomes decrease in resistance, it becomes 530. Maybe it can become like that. So the resistance will differ from the original design resistance, and it will affect the output. So transistor can be increase or decrease in resistance. When it becomes like this, it means it can be decrease in resistance, and also it can be increase in resistance. This is the actual resistance, design resistance, and it can be maybe 560. When it becomes 560 like that, it means the transistor is faulty because it have increase in resistance, which has caused difference from the actual design resistance, and it means it's faulty. And also we have component like IC is integrated circuit. Inside the IC, we may have transistor, resistor, capacitor, diode, you may have diode inside. See, we have diode. Okay, so inside the IC is consists of two or more electronics components. So if the IC is not functioning well, it can be caused by either the resistor is faulty, or the diode is faulty, or the transistor inside is faulty. It depends how they have designed the IC. So by the IC, they have been compacted, so you cannot remove the faulty component from the IC or inside the IC and fix them. So you need to buy another IC and fix it. So as the fault, the IC can be short circuit because there's a resistor inside, diode inside, transistor inside. So if one of them become short circuit, then it will appears the terminals or the reading of the IC, and it will not work well. So the fault that affects IC, one is short circuit, open circuit, increase or decrease in resistance, because all these components can be inside the IC. So the fault that affect the component, that same fault that appears in the IC. Okay, so to repair any electronic machine, you must understand how to test the electronics component. Maybe your TV set is not working. It's one or two or is some of the component inside the TV, either one or two, is faulty. So you open your TV, you test them. Maybe the capacitor or the diode or the IC or the transformer inside is faulty. Then you test and know the faulty one. You place a new one. The TV will work for you. This is such good technology, and everything is in education. Yes, if anything, you draw my attention. Thank you for watching. This is Attribute Technology.